The story begins with a young man named Jung Jisoo riding his bicycle to school. Meanwhile, a high school girl named Yoon Sung-keen is trying to find her classroom in the school area. While searching, Yoon accidentally bumps into Jisoo, who is looking at his phone, and they collide. This causes Yoon to lose her balance and almost fall down the stairs along with her phone. Jisoo rushes to save her and her phone from getting damaged. During this chaos, Yoon grabs onto Jisoo's tie, and they unexpectedly share their first kiss. Afterward, Yoon apologizes, but Jisoo ignores her and walks away. Yoon secretly takes a picture of him as he leaves. Later, Yoon attends a student meeting in the school hall, where the headmaster calls upon an exceptional student to represent the students. She is surprised to discover that the outstanding student is Jisoo, the same person who saved and kissed her earlier in the day. Yoon instantly falls in love with Jisoo, a brilliant student with an IQ of 200, and she is placed in the class for high-achieving students, known as Class A. 2 years pass and Yoon still has feelings for Jisoo. She keeps up with his updates through his social media profiles. One day, while dealing with a beehive in her classroom, Yoon checks her phone and learns that Jisoo is returning to the building reserved for gifted students like him. Yoon and many other Jisoo fans start running to catch a glimpse of their idol in person. However, they face obstacles because the building's security system only allows students with high IQs to enter. Yoon, being considered less intelligent, can only watch Jisoo from afar. Yoon went to a seminar where Jisoo was one of the speakers. She fell even more in love with him and was determined to tell him how she felt. But when Yoon heard that Jisoo was getting close to a beautiful girl named Sawi, she felt really sad and hopeless. She went to the school rooftop to be alone because of her sadness. However, her friends came to remind her to stop dreaming about dating Jisoo. A young man named Jin tried to approach Yoon. Still, Yoon insisted that she wouldn't give up and would confess her love to Jisoo no matter what. Yoon and her friends then made a plan to get into Building A and meet Jisoo to confess her feelings. Yoon finally got her chance when the school's fire alarm suddenly went off, causing a power outage and shutting down all technology. She quickly ran to Building A and saw that the door was open. Yoon went inside and found Jisoo. Without wasting any time, she bravely expressed her love for him. Unfortunately, Jisoo rejected Yoon and openly said that he didn't like girls who weren't smart. Yoon was very sad and hurt by his words. To make things worse, all the students in Class A recorded the embarrassing moment when Jisoo rejected Yoon and made fun of her. Even the teachers and the headmaster scolded Yoon for bothering Jisoo. The next day, while Yoon was drying clothes in her yard, her father, who was drunk, ran out of the house and said they would have a new home. Yoon reminded her father that they already had a house, but then their house suddenly collapsed because it was poorly constructed. The collapsed building quickly became a big news story, and everyone started talking about Yoon. Her friends tried to help by organizing a fundraising event for her, but she felt even more embarrassed. One day, when Jisoo and his friend passed by Yoon and the students from Class F, they made fun of them and assumed none of the Class F students were smart. This hurt Yoon's feelings, and she challenged Jisoo to prove that Class F students could be in the top 100 for an upcoming test. Jisoo accepted the challenge. Meanwhile, Yoon helped her father collect usable items from their ruined house. Her father received a call from an old friend who invited them to stay at his home temporarily. When they arrived at the friend's house, they were surprised to see a very big and fancy house. Yoon felt lucky to be able to stay there, even if it was just for a while. The friend's wife introduced their youngest son, Yusu, who didn't seem happy about Yoon and her father being in their house. However, his mother told him to be polite because they were guests. The wife was enthusiastic about Yoon's presence and talked about her oldest son, who was smart and popular at school. She even suggested that Yoon marry him. But Yoon declined because she had feelings for someone else, even though he had rejected her in a very harsh way. That evening, Yoon discovers that Jisoo is actually the eldest son of the family when he visits her in her room. Jisoo asks Yoon to keep this a secret from everyone in the house. At school, Yoon's friends remind her about her challenge to make it into the top 100 list. She feels hopeless and unsure if she can meet the challenge because she struggles with learning. She also feels down when she sees Jisoo and Sawi getting closer, even though they're not officially dating. Yoon receives a message from Jisoo's mother through her phone, sparking an idea. She becomes determined to prove that not all Class F students are unintelligent, and decides to take on the challenge of making it into the top 100 list. To avoid the embarrassment of failing to make the list, Yuan asks Jisoo to help her study for the trial exam. Jisoo reluctantly agrees because Yuan has a humiliating video of him sent by his mother. He agrees on the condition that Yuan deletes the video from her phone. Jisoo starts tutoring Yuan every night, using an approach that helps her understand difficult lessons. At school, Yuan becomes very focused on her studies and sometimes doesn't pay attention to her surroundings. Jin stays close to make sure she doesn't get hurt. When the exam finally arrives, Yuan feels confident about answering the questions, even though she's not sure if she got them all right. On the other side, Jisoo is concerned about Yuan and hopes she does well in her exams. When the exam results and rankings are announced, Yuan rushes to check and is relieved to see Jisoo is still ranked first. She worries that he might have dropped in the rankings because he spent a lot of time helping her. But she manages to achieve her goal and ranks 100. Skipping ahead during a school sports event, Jisoo's class competes against Yuan's class in a marathon race. Jisoo's class wins because of a mistake made by Yuan. Unexpectedly, Jisoo's mother comes to the school to support her son and reveals that Yuan is staying at their house. This leads to questions about Yuan and Jisoo's relationship. Jisoo pretends that Yuan is just his assistant to calm everyone down. This upsets Jin, who gets into a fight with Jisoo due to his disrespectful behavior towards Yuan. Frustrated by Jisoo's attitude, Yuan breaks up with both Jisoo and Jin, saying she no longer has feelings for Jisoo. Later, Jisoo's friend humiliates Yuan by showing a video of her confessing her love for Jisoo. In retaliation, Yuan shares an embarrassing video of Jisoo dressed as a woman with a long wig dancing. An annoyed Jisoo pulls Yuan away from the chaos. When they are alone, Yuan expresses her regret for liking a selfish and arrogant person like Jisoo. She tells him she won't bother him anymore and plans to find another handsome boyfriend. As Yuan's about to leave, Jisoo takes her hand and kisses her on the lips. Long story short, Yuan and Jisoo have graduated from high school and are getting ready for the college entrance exam. During this time, Jisoo faces some challenges, like Yuan having an accident that distracts her from her studies. One night, Jisoo argues with his father because his father wants him to study in the United States and take over the family business. However, Jisoo dreams of becoming a veterinarian and leaves home in frustration. Yuan feels responsible for what happened and apologizes to Jisoo's parents before going after him. When they meet, Yuan apologizes again and decides to move out of Jisoo's house. The next day, Jisoo leaves home to start his own life without the pressure from his parents. Both Jisoo and Yuan attend the same university but lead separate lives. However, Yuan worries about Jisoo because she hasn't heard from him for a while. She eventually learns that Jisoo is working part-time at a veterinary clinic and visits him there. Even though Jisoo acts distant, he secretly cares about Yuan. In the evening, Yuan follows Jisoo to his apartment and sees Sawi there, thinking they are dating. It turns out that Sawi is only there for business. Jisoo spends time with Yuan, but he receives news that his father is sick. So he takes over his father's business while his father is in the hospital, which adds more stress to his life. Although he cares for Yuan, Jisoo gives more priority to the business. He decides to leave Yuan to marry another woman to merge their businesses and save his father's company. Yuan is hurt and rejects his love, running away. Jisoo's parents disagree with his decision to marry for business reasons and tell him that love should come from the heart. A year passes and Yuan is checking Jisoo's social media. Jisoo posts about speaking at an assembly in the school hall, so Yuan goes there reluctantly. However, when she arrives, she realizes that she's the only one there. Jisoo hides and Yuan calls Jisoo's brother, who tells her that only specific people can see Jisoo's posts. Yuan understands that the posts were meant for her. Jisoo then proposes to Yuan, and she agrees. In a flashback at the end, Jisoo wakes up from his sleep during the time he was tutoring Yuan and sees a love letter Yuan wrote for him. So the moral of the drama is don't be discouraged if you accidentally kiss someone while saving their life and they reject you for not being a genius. Life's full of B-filled challenges, collapsing houses, and unexpected love proposals. Just roll with it.